Steve Bannon says, quote, there's a plan for Trump 2028. What is that plan? Trump Jr. 2028? Because I'm not buying it. But this is what Bannon is saying. Quote, he's going to get a third term. So Trump is going to be president in 2028, and people just ought to get accommodated with that. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan. We had longer odds in 16 and longer odds in 24 than we've got in 28. They say that Trump is not eligible for another term under the 22nd Amendment of the United States Constitution. Presidents are limited to 2 elected terms. Now you see the mistake they just made. And, we can try. Let me pull up the 22nd Amendment. Try and guess what the play may be. But we got it right here, and I'll throw it in. Section 1, 22nd Amendment. No person shall be elected to the office of president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. Can anybody in the room answer for me what the key word is that they will try to utilize to get Trump a third term?
I believe it may be elected.
Correct.
Yay.
If Trump is placed by a judicial appointment into the office of the presidency due to some unforeseen circumstance, it will not be in violation of the 22nd Amendment.
Well, maybe that's the delay for all this action we were just talking about in the last segment is, hey, this is the year 1 of Trump's second term. So if there's plays like that in the background, they may need to wait for all this action. I mean, if create a faux crisis and then say, hey, he's back again.
But do we really think... I don't know if that's Bannon's play. What do you think? The play is going to be appointment?
I would really doubt that they would simply allow the situation to escalate just to set something like this up, set up that emergency. I mean, ultimately, if it's an amendment, you're just as likely to be able to repeal it as anything else. You repealed, prohibition. You could repeal this too, ultimately.
But the words are relatively meaningless. It's an exercise of power. So... the fact is, if Trump wants to be president, we understand the spirit is that he can't be, but it does say elected. So it sounds like if the elected route is the route they go, there's an emergency. Trump declares an emergency under National Security Presidential Directive 51. Are you familiar?
Not
created by Bush. The president has the authority under executive orders to overwrite the U.S. government with an enduring constitutional government, it's called, a single branch that controls everything and appoints a national continuity coordinator. The play may be an emergency. Here's the deal, man. There's a bunch of different plays that could happen. Trump invokes the Insurrection Act, says we are in an active civil war, and for that reason, Trump doesn't get elected at all. He stays president because there's no election in a time of war. Now, even the U.S., the Union had an election during the Civil War. But there's a bunch of plays Trump could make in terms of emergencies that avoid elected presidents.
Well, I'm wondering if Bannon actually consulted the Trump administration on this, because I don't know if there's really an appetite, because J.D. Vance is a shoo-in at this point, quite frankly, if things hold, and he would probably carry over most of the staffing, if not the overwhelming majority of the staffing. So obviously Trump would have to make the final decision here, but at least within the Trump administration, I assume they're a Vance term would just sort of be a continuation of Trump's policy. So why would this even be necessary?
Have you guys seen the meme, you can just do things?
Yeah. It's true.
What is stopping me from taking this Wolf box? Let me kind of detach this. There we go. This is a fan. What's to stop me from just chucking it as hard as I can at Tate?
Nothing really.
The cameras.
Laws,
yeah.
Social decorum. The reality is within the realm of physics, I could do it. But we know that man has written things down saying, do not do this. So there is a presumption that should I do something like that, well, Tate would probably tackle me and then maybe we get into a fight or I don't know. I actually don't know what he would do if I whipped something at him
probably
like that.
Just take
fun
it.
content.
Probably just cry.
The point is, there are reasons why we don't do these things because one, we have empathy. We care about each other. We don't want to hurt each other. Some people don't. But we also fear the laws of man. But the reality is those laws won't actually stop a person from doing it. So we wrote down in the Constitution, Trump can't be president. The question is someone willing to exercise the power to just do what they want? And Bannon is saying, yes, we have. We don't care what's written down. If we choose it doesn't apply to us, it doesn't.
Well, I'll now invoke who shall not be named. Carl Schmitt, of course, talked. I know. We're all woke here now. But he talked about the sovereign is he who decides on the exception. His entire point in saying that is that any given Constitution is only an outline for how the system should be going. It can never define every instance that the system will run into. And by definition, anything the Constitution didn't plan for has to be an exception to that system. And when you hit those exceptions, the only question is who's in charge? Who's sovereign? And the sovereign is he who can decide this is an exception. Lincoln says it's an exception. We got to take back the South. And so the Constitution doesn't matter anymore. Habeas corpus doesn't matter anymore. I can disrupt elections. I can throw journalists in jail because guess
Supreme
what?
Court justices.
It turns out that, he was sovereign and he had the power to decide on the exception. And this is important to understand what a constitution ultimately is. Constitutions don't stop anything ever. It's some words written on paper. A constitution is what the people collectively believe. And so if the people collectively believe that Trump can't have a third term, then he won't have a third term. But if the people no longer care, if they've lost their faith in those kind of things, if that tradition no longer holds, then the words on paper don't stop anything. And we've seen the left, really just base their entire movement on this idea that they can just say, I don't care what the Constitution only says, as long as the people aren't going to enforce it, it doesn't matter anymore.
What do you think would happen if it's the year 2020, it's 2026, it is 3 days before the election, and 26 polling stations in swing districts are bombed by Antifa-aligned individuals, like people with Antifa flags are seen running from the scene. They blow them all up. What do you think would happen?
I mean, again, sadly, I don't think this is exactly outside of the realm of possibility. And in that case, there's zero doubt that Trump would have to step in and use military force to return order. There's simply no other
People would
option.
demand it. Trump aside.
Now let's try this.
And they should, by the way.
What would happen if in 2028, Donald Trump in office, not running for office, J.D. Vance is running, and Trump is praising him and saying, hey, he's fantastic, and the polls are doing really well. And then early voting begins in these areas. There's questions about whether or not these places like maybe Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, they're leaning red. And then we get several dozen bombings at polling stations in areas that are Republican leaning in these states where you need those votes. They're decimated. The ballots are destroyed. Maybe 10,000 in each location, 1,000 in each location. Antifa culprits are caught on camera. One guy gets arrested. He's a known far leftist. What happens then?
Sounds like they're trying to insurrect.
Sounds like Trump would say, my fellow Americans, in swing states, largely which will determine which candidate is going to win, Republican voting districts were just bombed. Several injured, several killed. We have arrested several people. We have provided evidence. It was an attack by left extremists to stop the Republicans from being able to win. This election is now void. How can you then carry on the election knowing that key areas of swing states were bombed? There's a million and one ways it could go down, but it's like you said, he who is sovereign is he who,
decides on the exception.
Exactly. Trump says, how would it be fair to conclude this election knowing that far-left radicals destroyed the votes of countless numbers of Republicans in states where they wanted their voice heard? If their voice is not heard, then the president is not chosen. He can then say, I firmly believe, even with this attack, J.D. Vance would be the winner. But because of those attacks, we won't know. Therefore, we will hold a new election, and we will need another 6 months to prepare. This election will take place in August of next year. Something like that. I think it's far-fetched to be honest. I'm saying this because there are a million and one ways Trump may be president in 2028. We can hypothesize, and I agree with you when you said it's not out of the realm of possibility that leftists will bomb polling stations or something to that effect, or even trucks carrying ballots.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the phrase meme magic? We all know.
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, meme magic.
So we say that as a joke, but actually it's very real, right? Like these things kind of will themselves into existence. So Trump is sitting there and the left is saying, no kings, right? No king. We have to have this no king protest. And then all of Trump's supporters say, well, you know what? Maybe he is a king. Maybe that's right? We start putting out about videos of him with a king. And it's all jokes and it's all fun. Until suddenly the left starts treating him like, oh, well, no, we have to fight him like he's a king. And then the right says, oh, we have to defend him like he's a king. And actually, if he's the king, then he has the powers of it. And before you recognize this, like that hyperstition has taken place, right? Yeah. Retroactively, you have moved yourself into a frame where whether it's true or not, whether anyone even wanted Trump as king or not, every side has acted as if he is king. Yeah. And therefore, he is, right?
I'm gonna start walking around
I'm sorry,
DC.
This is incorrect. he's God Emperor.
That's
It's true. I'm gonna start walking around with like a no Caesar sign, see if I can start a movement and become an American. That'd be kind of nice. I would sure hate if Barron became the American Caesar. That would suck. We should
Six Emperor
protest.
Tyrannus just walking around.
Have you seen the DHS Orifarm edits they've been putting out of ICE and DHS agents just cracking down on the far left protests? And it's crazy because they got music and there's the flashing lights. It's an awesome edit, but people are cheering for this. Like, it's not just like, hey, yeah, cool, they're upholding the law. They're like, yes, more of this, And so people are calling for, and that's what's so tragic to me about what the left has done in general, is now you've got people on the right that are just like, yeah, I don't care anymore. I want my family to stay safe. I don't want to die. So yeah, let's have troops in every major city.
Well, this energy is all across the West because, I mean, fundamentally what's driven Trump to this point is that he's tapping into the frustration of immigration, like broadly speaking. And this has been all across the West. We've been like covering the Ireland riots and that sort of thing. And Ireland is a great example of what happens when you don't even have a right-wing party to siphon that energy off of. Where in the United States, we have the Trump administration that is fulfilling the mandate. But yeah, you still got to give them some red meat. You got to give them the edits. You got to give them this, that, and the other. But the left should really understand that Trump is what's keeping a lid on this. Like, Ireland is what things could escalate into if it weren't for Trump sort of carrying out that mandate. And then, like, on the flip side, I could very well see them, bombing ballot boxes, these sorts of things, because the reason we're seeing this leftist violence in the first place is because Trump is so effective. He has been winning, and they feel demoralized. They feel backed into a corner, and that's why they're lashing out, because they feel like that the right, A, has a monopoly on power at this stage, which in many ways we do. But B, they just feel backed into a corner. They feel like their avenues to power are completely cut off, and so that's why they feel like they need to lash out.
And it's not just the terror attacks and the violence that we're seeing in the cities. Like, that's definitely could be a cause for Trump 2028. But so as we've been recording, the news broke that Hakeem Jeffries has endorsed Zohran Mamdani. So you basically have the Democrats as a whole now saying, yeah, this communist thing, we're on board with it. Mm-hmm. So Trump could just be like, hey, there is no Democrat Party anymore. It's communism. Their votes do not count. Yeah. Like, we're not playing this. We fought communism. We're not going there.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would do that. Stephen Miller's too smart. I think if Trump wants to go this route, false flag attack. I'm not. It's funny because people have asked me, like, you really think Trump would do a false flag? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe not Trump, but certainly someone around him. Come on. We're talking about winning a war, and they tried to put this man in prison. They arrested his lawyers. Nothing's off the table. Winning is winning. And if you are, to be fair, I'll put it like this. Conservatives have continually showed themselves to be the samurai, the people who have tried to fight with honor. So that's why I really don't think we'll see a Trump administration false flag attack. But I also wouldn't put it past anybody to do whatever it took to win. If the left doesn't engage in these acts of violence or terror and Trump really does want to be president for a third term, how hard would it be? Right now, they put out another bounty on the pipe bombers from J6.
See the new.
I think it's fairly obvious the pipe bombers were Democrat-aligned individuals trying to malign Trump.
Do you see the new videos that they released? Of the
Yeah. Maybe we should actually pull that one up.
Yeah, and it's crazy. A lot of people are. Go ahead.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.